What's up, everyone? Welcome to this edition of the Houston Roundball Review presents Let's Talk Houston Rockets. I'm, of course, KG Kris Gardner, owner of the Houston Roundball Review. Going to do something a little bit different than previous shows, most recent shows. Going to focus on one particular prospect for the Rockets and their 10th pick in the upcoming 2025 NBA draft, which is 2 weeks away from Wednesday, June 11th. First round will take place on June 25th. On this edition of LTHR, going to talk about and give a scouting report regarding Kasparas Jakučionis. And majority of this information I'm going to discuss is from Sam Bassini's NBA draft guide. Sam is with The Athletic. Does a great job. Very, very thorough on, I think, maybe the top 100 prospects for the draft. He only has one player in his tier one for this year's draft. That's Cooper Flagg. One player in tier two only, Dylan Harper. Those are the top two picks of the draft. Kasparas is in Sam's fourth tier, but will be around for the 10th pick. So let's get into it as you're watching here on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. Y'all know about Kasparas, freshman, finished his freshman year at Illinois. Very talented player, solid season. I think he was third team All Big Ten, put up good numbers, great passer, solid shooter, bright future, up and coming. So let's discuss if you believe his skill set best suits your Rockets. Here we go. His strengths. Great size for a lead guard at 6'4" and 3/4 inches without shoes. So he's about 6'6", 6'7", 3/4 wingspan. He plays with tremendous feel. He changes pace well and has extremely high level skills that allow him to access that field from all over the court. He's great with early offense, which is important for the Rockets so they can not be bogged down in the half-court sets. Solid defensive rebounder, averaged 5.7 rebounds per game past year at Illinois. Makes incredible reads out of ball screens. Unbelievable passer and playmaker. The execution of his passes is elite. A good scorer out of ball screens or DHOs, dribble handoffs. Draws a lot of fouls because of his great footwork. Averaged 5+ free throw attempts per game at Illinois. He got better throughout the year using his chest to keep players who were similarly sized and similarly athletic to him in front of him on defense. He doesn't quit on defense, scrambles, and works hard. So those are some of his strengths. Do you think what I just mentioned fits for the Rockets, solves a need for your Rockets in the backcourt as a shooter, as a facilitator, could be a lead guard for the second unit, things of that sort? What do you think about Kasparas Jakučionis from Illinois as a fit for your Rockets? And don't be shy, comment. Going to do this probably on Thursday with a different scouting report for another player, and then maybe Friday or Saturday as well. Try to get 3 shows in for the next couple of weeks before draft night on June 25th for the first round. And then second round will be on June 26th. But of course, the Rockets currently have the 10th pick in the first round of this year's NBA draft. WK, how are you? What's up to you as well? Now, back to the discussion, scouting report regarding Kasparas Jakučionis, a possible 10th pick for the Rockets at 10. He's probably going to go around. He was one of the 13 players who are on the invite list for the Green Room on day one of the draft. And more of that will be official once the league announces it. But who was it? I forgot the name that Sean's put out there, the list. But there was a young man who wasn't on the list. And I was like, what about him? But back to the scouting report for Kasparas. Areas for improvement. WK, Space H, how are you doing? He's not a superb athlete. That's not a red flag. I mean, he's still ball players. Doesn't have much overall speed or first step acceleration. Not a huge leaper. Turnover prone. Average 3.7 turnovers per game. Let me fix this dude's better here. There we go. So I'm still getting used to these new toys and stuff. So bear with me here, guys. There we go. Want to get this right. All right. His handle and footwork could get tighter. Some worries on defense. Quicker guards got the best of him, especially early in the season. The WK says, no one drafted will solve any of the Rockets' problems. Adding another young player to sit on the bench is probably not a valuable use of that roster slot. Space Age, do you agree with that assessment from WK? Honestly, I kind of do too. If the Rockets can't trade up higher to get Knipple or maybe came a Molly Watch, one of those guys. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd keep the pick at 10 for sure. All right. I'm going to get back to the scouting report momentarily. But I pulled up Sham's tweet from earlier about the guys invited to the draft room. Cooper Flagg, obviously. Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, VJ Edgecombe, Trey Johnson, Kama Malawach, Jeremiah Fears, Knipple, Kasparas Jakučionis, Igor Dimon, Carter Bryant, Derek Queen, Asa Newell. I remember the name who I was kind of surprised is not on this list. Who do y'all think I'm thinking of that is not one of these current 13? I think to be one more for 14 invited to the green room on draft night for the first round. What name is missing? And we have discussed that name on recent editions of Let's Talk Houston Rockets. What name is missing from this list? And again, the list. Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, VJ Edgecombe, Trey Johnson, Kama Malawach, Jeremiah Fears, Knipple, Igor Dimon, Carter Bryant, Derek Queen, and Asa Newell. Who's the name that we have discussed? Actually, two names so far that we discussed, not among this 13. Space Age agrees to a certain extent, but I don't think the Rockets are keeping that pick. But back to it. The scouting report for areas of improvement regarding Kasparas. Some worries on defense. Quicker guards got the best of him, especially early in the season. He got better at that as the season progressed. Off-ball defense left something to be desired. Summary. Jakučionis is a tremendously skilled basketball player who fits into the kind of archetype that Sam Vecenie loves. He's very high on guys who shoot, dribble, pass, all those things, and think the game, have high IQ. Jakučionis can dribble, pass, shoot, process the game at a high level, and has good positional size. If Jakučionis ends up not being able to separate on the ball, Vecenie is confident in Kasparas' ability to play off the ball and hammer advantages that are created for him by high-level creative guards because he can shoot, drive, and what's going on around him to make excellent passing reads. Think of better passing Bogdan Bogdanović, who has averaged 14 points per game over 8 years in the NBA and has been sneaky awesome in the playoffs and big international events. Jakučionis is also a truly special passer who should continue to work on his craft as a ball handler to get separation from his consistently without turning over the ball and feeling rushed, because there would be some really high upside outcomes if that happened. Bet on him being more of a great secondary ball handler who can play with and help your starters while also running second units, but don't discount the potential for more. So does that summary endear you, make you say, yep, Rockets should keep the 10th pick and draft Kasparas with that 10th pick? Or nah, he doesn't do enough for me. He doesn't move the needle for me. Get somebody else, trade down, move down, trade the pick for future assets, or package the pick to Phoenix for KD. What do you think? But just a little bit of information, more in-depth details about Kasparas, who will be one of the guys in the green room. So that is kind of an indication that he will be a lottery pick. Of course, generally, there is usually one player that always falls down those projections from lottery to 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, into the first round, early second round, things of that sort. Yes. WK, I'll get back to it. I'll say it again. Read the part about his defense. And one thing I like about it, his areas for improvement, some worries on defense. Quicker guards got the best of him, especially early in the season. But one of his strengths is he got better throughout the year using his chest to keep players who were similarly sized and similarly athletic to him in front of him on defense. Doesn't quit on defense, scrambles and works hard. So he competes defensively. So that's a start. being strong enough to battle and compete physically is a start. So he's not an elite athlete, but let's be real. Let's be honest. Even the NBA is not full of elite athletes. Amen Thompson is an elite of elite. There's not a lot of guys like him in the NBA. He's one of one. Even he's more athletic than his brother, Asar. So let's not, go overboard. But he is turnover prone. Now that is an issue. So let me get back to that as well. Averaging 3.7 turnovers. He's got to tighten up his handle. That's an area he needs to improve. His handle and footwork. I mean, talking about a freshman here. Talking about a young man's like 19 years old. So he's not a finished product by no means. And that's another thing with these freshman young players. Their improvement, their better days will be in the NBA with the work, the strength, the weight room, the training, spending more time with coaches, individual workouts, all the things. So majority of these guys, nearly all of them, hopefully, the better days are ahead of them in the NBA and not behind them in college or overseas. Space Age, you sound like not too complicated. The guard from Florida, talking about Walter Clayton Jr. He is in the draft. Sam is not as high on him as some. A lot of folks really aren't high on Walter. He's not tall. He's like 6'2". He was a college scorer. So will that scoring ability translate to the NBA? Walter is not an elite athlete either. Or not argue not even a great athlete. Elite, like I said, elite athletes. That's Amen Thompson. That's guys like that. If you are a solid athlete, a good enough athlete, and compete, that's another tier below elite. But Walter, I think his draft range is probably the mid-teens to the 20s. Now, if you believe the Rockets should draft down or move down the draft to pick up some future assets and draft Walter, I would not be mad at that. I kind of understand it. And would he be an upgrade of what the Rockets currently have? Would he be an upgrade over Reed Shepherd? Would he be redundant from what the Rockets have in their backcourt? That's a question. But so far, Pakito, how are you doing? Thank you for chiming in from Korea. Appreciate that as well. But WK adds, everything I said is true about improvement comes with playing time, which will be difficult to come by of the first round pick, over the first round pick from last year. Yes. So it's a question that you guys, you are the Rockets fans, but for these shows, I'm asking you to put on your Rockets general manager hat. And what do you think the Rockets, what's the best way for the Rockets to go in this draft? That is 2 weeks away. The 2025 NBA drafts, first round, is June 25th. So should the Rockets stay at 10? Is there someone that you have in mind that you would like the Rockets to package to move up in the draft to acquire? Or is this draft not really worth that if they can't get up to the top 2 or 3? Top 2 is set. Cooper Flag, Dylan Harper. Number 3, that's where the fun will begin. Do you think the Rockets should move up to 3? Are you higher on Ace Bailey than you are VJ Edgecombe? I have some concern. I have a lot of concern about Ace Bailey, but he makes things too complicated for me with his shot selection, one of them. But Space Age says Rockets' main need is consistent perimeter shooting. Can they address that at 10? Kasparas is a good shooter. We can go back to it. Yeah, I didn't mention his stats. 44% overall, 32% from 3, 85 from the line. You see the 5.7 rebounds, 4.7 assists, but those 3.7 turnovers per game, that's an issue. That's an area he does need to improve. And like I said, he's only 18, 19 years old, so he'll improve on that. And that's part of the draft and projecting ahead is how much these guys will improve. Kasparas turned 19 May 29th, so he's just 19 years old. Just turned 19 a few weeks ago. WK states trade out of the first round unless there is a consolidation trade plan where the team will need to replenish depth. You got someone in mind for that. But back to it, I'm going to say it again. Not too complicated. How are you doing? I'm going to mention the names again. Earlier today, Jonathan Gavoni, excuse me, Jonathan said it first. My bad, Jonathan. I'm sorry. Posted that 13 players have so far been invited to NBA draft night on June 25th. Not too complicated. I'm going to say the 13 names. See if you can figure out who is a name missing from this group that we have discussed in recent Let's Talk Houston Rockets shows. First is obvious. First two are obvious. Cooper Flag, Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, VJ Edgecombe, Trey Johnson, Kama Malawach, Jeremiah Fears, Con Knipple, Kasparas Jakučionis, Igor Dimon, Carter Bryant, Derek Queen, and Asa Newell. What name is missing? There's 2 names missing that we have touched on and discussed in recent Let's Talk Houston Rockets shows. Can you name them? Do you know who they are? And one of these names, I'm surprised Igor Dimon is here, but some folks like him more than I do. So, I mean, just being honest, you know, I knew, see, not too complicated. We haven't talked about him yet. We have not done a scouting report on him specifically on recent show. But you and who was it? Space Age? Yeah, Space Age asked the same question about Walter Clayton. Lucky, how are you doing? Appreciate you as well. Jakučionis is one of the best point guards in this draft class. You never know what the Rockets are going to do. That is true. That's part of what we're doing on these shows. Cedric Coward is one of those two names. Who was the other one? Baylor Bear, how are you? That's a new name. Wish we were picking around 8. Feel like there's a couple of guys I like more just out of our reach. And who are those guys, Baylor Bear 03? But complicated, it's right on one of them. But who is the other one? And this young man, I'll give a hint. He is 4'5". He's a tweener, 4'5". Probably he's an undersized 5. Probably have to play at the 4 in the NBA. But one of the question marks regarding this young man is, can he become a reliable 3-point threat? But he is not one of the young men, one of the 13 names who have been invited to the NBA draft. Who is it? Who is it? Cedric Coward is one of them. High risk, high reward. A lot of us believe that is his label right now. Correct. South Carolina power forward, and his name is Colin Murray Boyles. So I'm kind of surprised he is not one of the ones, especially, I guess, Asa Newell's had better looks, better workouts or whatever. But Asa Newell was not a lottery pick in most mock drafts the last week or two. So if he's going to be one of those invites, good for him. Doesn't mean he's going to go draft in the lottery, but it's a decent indication that he might. But Colin Murray Boyles and Cedric Coward are the two names that we have discussed on recent Let's Talk Houston Rockets shows, in addition to Kasparas, Igor Dimon, and Carter Bryant. The last 3 are part of the 13 guys invited to the green room on first round draft night on June 25th. Y'all know I'm not sold on Igor Dimon for the Rockets specifically, but I've been wrong before. I'm not really sold on Carter Bryant at 10 for the Rockets either, but I like him more than Igor Dimon, that's for sure. But what do you think about it? Who was it who said it? Baylor Bears 03. Who was your wish list for the Rockets if the Rockets could move up in the draft to get to 8, 7, 8? Who was that player or players that you would like the Rockets to get, you would think would be a better fit for the Rockets? But honestly, earlier in tonight's show, touched on it with Space Age and WK. I'm pretty sure Not Too Complicated believes this, but is there a rookie in this draft class that y'all believe we will crack the rotation for the Rockets this year and play and get consistent minutes? I don't think there is. I don't. Baylor Bear says Knipple. Yeah, yeah. He would be a very good fit. He would fit the Rockets' need as a shooter. He's the one. Complicated agrees. Con Knipple. He would be the guy that would best solve the Rockets' biggest need, and that's perimeter shooting. They will need to move up in the draft to get him. Do y'all think the Rockets should do that? Do y'all want the Rockets to move up? And of course, it's based on nothing outlandish. I'm not talking about doing some ridiculous, foolhardy trade, but a deal that makes sense. Would you want Rafael Stone to move up in the draft to get Con Knipple? If it's, get to 7, not asking for giving up 2-3 picks to go from 10 to 5 or something like that. But if it's around 7 or 8 to get Con Knipple, would you want Rafael to make that move, to make that call to whoever the team is at 8 on draft night and say, what is it going to take for us to make a trade, complete this trade with you guys? Would you want the Rockets to do that, or no, stand pat, or move down, or move out of the first round entirely, or go one step further, package the trade in a deal with Phoenix for Kevin Durant, or in a deal for Kevin Durant, the Rockets will draft a player at 10 for Phoenix because the Suns have someone in mind, but that player's draft rights will ultimately go to Phoenix in a deal for Kevin Durant. What option do you want the Rockets to take on draft night? A lot of colleagues believe that transactions, trades, deals are going to heat up the week of the draft. 2 weeks away. So clock is ticking. That deals are going to start moving, heating up, and probably more and more deals. Well, not probably, but deals that happen will be deals that were not leaked to the public, as I say, and I've said for the few years that I've done these Let's Talk Houston Rocket shows, but the years that I've covered hoops. The majority of the deals that are completed are not deals that were leaked to the public. Not too complicated wants the Rockets to trade down and draft Walter Clayton. Not too complicated. Why are you so high on Walter Clayton? Just curious. And there's no wrong answer. I'm just curious your rationale, your thought process on it. I asked it earlier, I think, right before you joined tonight's show. Do you believe he will be an upgrade over Reed Shepherd, Aaron Holiday, Fred, whatever? What do you think? So just give me your thought process. Why do you want the Rockets to acquire or move down to acquire Walter Clayton Jr.? He's, like I said, he's not tall. He's probably an undersized two guard for the NBA. So that could be a concern. He did a great job. He was clutch for the Gators, helping them win the championship. He's 22. So he's an older college player. I mean, played 4 years in college. So he's got experience. He could be one of those veteran players from college ready to contribute immediately in the NBA. That could be a plus. But do you believe he can handle the point guard position for the Rockets? But do you believe his skill set will translate to the NBA? He will be an undersized shooting guard. And his best position ultimately is probably going to be at the one. He's not a one. He's not ready to be a point guard and run an offense yet. Now, can he grow into that and learn to do it effectively and balance his scoring skill set with being a good facilitator and a guy who can run offense, make good decisions, learn the balance of when to get his points and when to also get his teammates involved and run the offense effectively and efficiently. King Pook, how you doing? Appreciate you, man. Rockets need to trade the pick, Fred and Dylan for Zion. Ooh, ain't gonna touch Zion. Call me crazy, but Reed, Amin, Jabari, Zion, and Şengün will work. And WK says, and the Rockets believe they already have a one in waiting. God bless them for that belief. Yeah. Yeah. How many of y'all have confidence in Reed Shepherd being that guy at point guard for the Rockets? That future point guard. The answer to one of the Rockets' problems is already on the roster in Reed Shepherd. Yeah. King Pook asks me, my thoughts on Jalen Green's potential with the team. I think his potential is somewhere else. His upside won't be with the Rockets. I just don't see it. I don't share the belief that Rafael Stone has that Jalen Green the light will come on for Jalen as a Rocket. Just don't. Part of that is because the defense just not going to be up to Ime's standards. Not good enough to his offense, his lack of consistency, his lack of strength, his lack of knowledge on offense isn't high enough to negate his average defense. Space Age does not share Rafael Stone's belief about Reed Sheppard. Paquito does believe in Reed Sheppard. King Poop thinks Reed Sheppard can and will be that guy. Reed and Amin is a perfect backcourt. Complicated states, Reed Sheppard isn't a point guard. He's a short shooter. WK, hard to judge a guy that didn't play. Will all be based on what Reed does this season. Space Age sees Reed as a bench player. Prove me wrong, but he can contribute. It's on him to earn those minutes, to earn that trust and respect from Ime and the staff, to start displaying that in the summer workouts, start displaying that in practice during the off season, the 5-on-5s. First thing first, you got to have the confidence in himself, in his skill set. He needs to share the same confidence that Rafael Stone has in him and be that shooter. Have that confidence to let it fly on the court and not pass up shots. Be that guy. What do I think are the most likely moves that the Rockets make this summer? Minor deals, nothing major. Stuff around the edges, something like, Jay Sean Tate, if they can package him for something, send him on his way, nothing big. I don't think they're going to do anything until they see how the team does in the early part of the season. They're going to trust that the growth and the continuity together will be enough to get them over the hump. I don't share that belief. We're going to see. Baylor Bear 03, like KD, if it doesn't cost us one of the big three. Space Age, I agree with you. I think more and more folks agree about Reed was drafted too high. I agree with that. As of right now, I'm going to say yes. I don't believe they're going to touch the core. It sounds weak and cliche, but right now it's true. Unless Giannis, unless Giannis says for the whole NBA world to hear, I want to be a Houston Rocket, I don't see the Rockets making a major move. I don't see them breaking up their core, their young core. I don't see them doing that now, this summer. Kevin Durant, yeah, if it's true that the Suns' asking price is lowering, we'll see. That might just involve giving the Suns picks back, swaps, whatever, and a Cam Whitmore or something like that. Okay, that's fine. That's not going to disrupt the core of the Rockets, but nothing major. I don't see a major deal during the offseason. Lucky states, if the Rockets had to move up the draft, he would prefer Trey Johnson to Knipple because Trey is an all-around scorer. He could develop to be our own version of Shea. Well, that's high praise. I think Trey's more of a scorer than shooter. He could be explosive, though. But Rockets kind of got guys who can be explosive. They need a shooter. WK states Rafael and Ime are both good at not devaluing their talent. I think they agree with a lot of public comments, but no need to air that and reduce player value. Space Age would not mind KD if it's not too much in return. King Pook can't watch another season of Jalen Green shooting 40% from the field with mediocre defense. I don't know if I'm strong enough for this. You're pretty much summing up my thoughts on it. I just don't see it. He's not good enough offensively to negate his average defense to play for Ime. I don't see it. Common Cade would love to see Cam Whitmore get into the rotation. It's on him. It's up to him. King Pook, I'm kind of different from you on this. Does not want Giannis if it means giving up Şengün. We aren't winning a chip with Amin and Giannis as our key pieces. With Şengün, at least we have a young core. Paquito, by no means I'm comparing Shepherd to Stockton or Curry, but those guys took a couple years before they became who they are. I think we should give him a chance to shine. Jalen Green got a Dennis Rodman. I'm not even going to, I don't even want to know. Paquito, plus it seems like the Rockets management saw something in Shepherd. See, Paquito, that's the thing. Kind of goes back to the earlier statement from our family member, WK. Rafael and Ime could be made those public comments about Reed to not lower his value, to stay high on Reed so they could get something for him in a trade, something of value for him. Baylor Bear asked me, you're in the group, and I'll say this. I'm going to stay true to it until Cam proves me wrong. And it's up to Cam. Everybody believes he's got the talent, the natural ability. He's blessed with great skills. But he does not and has not done the things in practice, defensively, the rebounding, the commitment to be that dog on defense to match his skill set on offense. We're critical of Jalen Green for not being that dog on both sides of the floor, really. But Cam does not do the little things to get on the floor and stay on the floor. That's what it comes down to. He does not do the little things in practice. We all see he's a gifted offensive player. But Cam is that kind of guy who can get you 12 a night or 20 sometimes, but give up 15 or 25. What's the point? I mean, he has it in him. Well, he has the athleticism to be great on both sides of the court. He cannot fall in love with his offense, and he's convinced himself so far, it looks like, that his offensive skills are enough to get him on the floor. No. He can't be lost on defense. I'll say it like this. It's an analogy, and Cam is nowhere near this dude. But Cam cannot go off on his own on defense and not play the same defense like everybody else on the court. He can't do his own thing defensively. That's not going to get him to stay on the court. He's got to do that. If he buys in this summer, if he locks in and commits to being the best version of himself defensively and offensively, he could help solve some of the Rockets' problems. But if he's still in the mindset of, I'm not sure what they want from me, young fella, you know what they want from you. Hell, we know what they want from you. They've told you what they want from you. Come on now. Baylor Bear, thank you very much for that. And the beauty of it, the beauty of the close-knit family is I can kind of go through the comments. Now, once this show gets more and more popular and a whole bunch of folks start chiming in and commenting, be more difficult to do that. But I don't mind reading the comments right now. I enjoy it. King Poop, trade Cam Whitmore and Jalen Green for a capable young 2 or 3. I don't know who, but we are better when both are off the court. Addition by subtraction. Wow. Ooh. The Cam part, I agree with completely. I mean, I guess playoff time, what Jalen did in the playoffs or didn't do, yeah, I mean, yeah, you could kind of agree with that too. So yeah, yep. Who, if any, is most likely to be traded in the summer? I don't think any of them. Well, summer maybe Cam. Is he part of the young core though? He's like what, 9th man on you count him as part of the core? But during the season, if it's proven that it's just not working, then I could see Jalen Green by the deadline in February being traded. But they're going to give him every opportunity to shine here as a Rocket. Isaiah Joe from the Thunder could be a nice option. Nadine, how are you doing? Thank you for joining the discussion. Appreciate you. Still think we should get KD. So, WK, I disagree with you a little bit. Jalen started struggling toward the end of the regular season. The slump started, 3 to 5 games left in the regular season. He never got out of it. So that let's be honest, his struggles started before the playoffs. A Desmond Bane trade. Give me the trade. Give me some details on that one. Oh, here we go. Right here. Trading Jalen and Cam for Desmond. He's a better shooter. He's physical. Stronger than Jalen. I'm going to say no right now. I'm going to say no. And it's rare teams in the same division. Yeah, no, I'm going to say no. But see, I love how the family starts to dictate the conversation. Tonight's show started off as a scouting report on Kasparas Jakučionis. Solid player for the Rockets. Now we're discussing Cam, Jalen, trades, things like that for the Rockets. Jeremy Grant does not meet a need for the Rockets. No. He's a very, very well-paid player, but he doesn't meet a need for the Rockets. Not anymore. Maybe 2 years ago. Not anymore. What is this? RAL TV? RAL TV? I would love Cam Johnson to the Rockets, and the Nets are willing to give him alongside their pick for our 10th pick, but must include Dillon to match salaries and playing time purposes. I'd be good with that. Yeah, I'd be good with that from a Rockets perspective. I'd be okay with that trade. Makes sense. Cam is a good 3-point shooter. Cam Johnson is a good 3-point shooter. Cam Thomas is a scorer. But I'll be good with that. And that's the thing. Can he stay healthy? He's not the defensive player Dillon is, but Dillon even kind of didn't do well in the playoffs, as well as folks hoped he would be. wasn't consistent. But that's a good part of this point for discussion going forward. Put a pin in that and join me again Thursday night. We're going to do it again. Same time, 9 o'clock Central Time. Paquito, if you're still here with us, what time is it right now in Korea? I'm just curious. I don't know the timetable. I don't, the difference in time zone. So I'm just curious. I know you're in Korea. If you're still with us, what time is it currently in Korea? As we wind down this edition of Let's Talk Houston Rockets. As always, much love to the LTHR family, King Pook, Complicated, Nadine, WK, Space Age, Baylor Bear, RAL TV, Paquito. Let me see. What time is it in Korea? I'm gonna see if I can get this right now. King Pook thinks a 16-hour difference. So let me see if he is correct. 11:47 in the morning. So what would that be? Wow, that's a lot. Wow. That's 14 hours, right? 14 hours. You're close. Mr. Big Texco, so smart, chiming in, beat me to it. Aideen, thank you for the kind words. Appreciate that. But yes, join us again Thursday night, 9 o'clock. And we're going to talk more Rockets. Probably start the show talking about another scouting report about a possible draft pick for the Rockets at 10. And then the discussion will go into wherever y'all take it. Free agency, trades, Reed Shepard, Cam, Jalen, whatever. And of course, so Thursday night will be another Rockets show. But Thursday afternoon will be the next edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover. Also here on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. That show also streams on Roku via the BS3 network. That show is a little bit of everything. Some college, some Rockets, some NBA, basketball, football, whatever. So if you're on your lunch break, you can watch that edition of the takeover of the lunch break, ironically, and participate in the discussion at noon Central Time this Thursday. But until Thursday, enjoy Game 3 Wednesday between OKC and the Pacers. Enjoy your hoops. Enjoy your Rockets. Wrapping it up, as I always do. Always, of course, folks. Subscribe to the channel. Click on that bell so you can receive notifications when new shows are posted. Spread the word about this show. Spread the word about this channel. Let your friends who are Rocket fans know about this show and that things are different. I do address the comments as much as possible during the show, throughout the show. That makes it different, a different live stream show. Thank you, as always, for taking time out of your night, day, schedule to participate in the discussion of your Houston Rockets. I am, of course, KG Kris Gardner, owner of the Houston Roundball Review since 1994. The Houston Roundball Review. Local name, global perspective. Everyone, take care. Peace.
Game over.